said, pal, if you don't do this, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. You got to do it and prove one way or the other that you could do it.
Hello, it's Diona Reasonover.
And I am Brian Dietzen.
And this is NCIS Partners Probies.
And today we are very excited because we have one of our favorite people on the planet. He is a director from NCIS.
Yes.
It is Mr. James Whitmore Jr.
Listen, when we say that name, Jimmy Whitmore Jr., you may not know it initially, but let me tell you, he is one of you guys. If you are watching the show and you are a fan of NCIS and that world, he's the biggest fan of NCIS and that world. He loves us. We love him. And he's been there pretty much since the beginning for multiple NCIS shows.
And he's got stories for days, Diona. He will talk about he's been working in this industry with so many huge names, back from the Rockford Files, Baba Black Sheep. He came up directing Quantum Leap and Tom Selleck in Magnum P.I. He really has stuck through the Bellisario universe.
Belisarius verse. Yeah.
Bellisario verse.
Anyway, stick around. Here comes Jimmy Whitmore Jr.
James Whitmore Jr. Jimmy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Jimmy and Jimmy.
Jimmy and Jimmy. We got a pair of Jimmys on the set today.
A pair of Jimmys. And
very different Jimmys. This is a wonderful Jimmy. A wonderful Jimmy who came out of nowhere.
Exactly. I came out
appeared one day and never went away.
This Jimmy came out of a one-day guest star and just wouldn't leave.
Brilliant man. Brilliant man.
You're a pretty wonderful Jimmy too, though.
Well,
I would say so.
Yeah.
We've made a bunch of these shows, you guys.
Well, this Jimmy, you directed over 50 of the Mothership. Probably about 14 or 15 of LA, right?
We made the pilot on that.
Yeah.
And the pilot on New Orleans. So
New Orleans, and then did you make it out to Hawaii as well? I mean,
I shot those. I didn't make the pilot.
Oof, you did it all.
I love those shows. I mean, what is it? It's nuts. It's a great job.
And you're still doing it. We're gonna Diona and I were just talking. We're gonna see you next month to do, I think, the 18th episode of this season.
Looking forward to it. It's great. It's weird.
Yeah.
Why?
This industry,
Oh, yeah.
When I went from show to show in the back in the day, after I started directing, before that I was acting, but I do a show and I go, this is fantastic. During the time of the X-Files, the X-Files time, we were constantly making fascinating, interesting shows. One was called Sleepwalkers. It was about doctors who went into the brains of people and lived in their dream world.
Yeah.
And interacting in their dream world. So many wonderful actors. I can't think of anybody's name because I have Alzheimer's. But the truth is, it was wonderful people doing this stuff, and it was. I said, this has got to be the greatest show that ever lived.
Wait a minute, just hold on, just so everybody knows, because you're not backstage with us. This is how Jimmy directs. So he comes on, awesome. You're supposed to be like having a conversation, say with.
Should
your
I wait
sister.
for you guys to ask me questions?
No.
This is perfect.
This is the Whitmore experience.
We wanted people to see you. Yeah. Right. But he comes, he's like, it's wonderful what you're doing, wonderful emoting, just beautiful acting. It's my favorite.
He's a wonderful brew of frothy deliciousness.
Yes.
Within your behavior. It's like you're behaving like a human. It's wonderful.
The words come when they come.
Yeah. Is that a violation?
But anyway, but the point was, in those days, you'd do a show and you'd say, this is going to last forever.
Yeah.
And they'd put it on one night.
Yeah.
And it would be canceled. And then right around the turn of the century, oddly, I don't know why, I was working with Kiefer Sutherland and those guys on 24. And Bellisario, Mark Horowitz called me up and said, we want you to come over and do this new show that we're doing because we have a lot of camera movement in it.
Right.
Now, I'd worked with Don before that. I've known Don forever. But then I made a pilot for him. After we did Quantum Leap, I did a pilot for him that was a disaster.
And you acted with him too, not just directing.
I did everything,
Yeah.
But then I did this pilot, and Don and I went like, and so I said, I'm never going to do that again because I don't want to get in a position with people who I love, which can often happen in this work when you're really just crushing with stuff and you say things to people you love, and you don't want to do that. So I said, I'm never going to work with Don again. And so I dodged him.
Right.
He did JAG, he did a bunch of stuff, and they'd call me up, and I'd say, I can't make it. Well, now Horowitz called and said, we need you for camera movement, and I was doing the 24 thing.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I'll go over there. And I went over to make a show. And it was wonderful.
Yeah.
From the moment I met Marky and those guys. And then, crazy Billy Webb and the brilliantly crazy, committed people. Because whenever Don made a show, it was a full-blown thing. It was a gigantic idea that it had to be cast perfectly. The camera had to be exactly the way he saw it in his head. And he'd get his camera, and cameraman, he'd tell him, listen, don't listen to any of those directors. Shoot it the way I want it shot, or I'll kill you. And that's the way it went.
Yeah.
So he did. And anyway, we started the show, and I came on the show, and I immediately bonded with Mark.
Yeah.
And then the rest is history.
Now, which Mark, Horowitz or Harmon? Because there's multiple
I'd
Marks
known
here.
Horowitz before.
Right.
We made a Rockford Files movie together, where I directed Jimmy and those guys, and I met Mark there, and he was with Charles Johnson. They were kind of a team, and and Charles Johnson, I'd known since way back in the beginning with the original Rockford Files and Baba Black Sheep, a TV show I was in, and so forth. And
Right.
So there we all were together making this show, and it really felt good. And they started calling me up, and the show wouldn't get canceled. It was 3 or 4 years, and it was a mediocre success. And then something happened. It got into syndication.
Yeah,
and the ladies and the people sitting home, smoking cigarettes, whatever they were doing, saw it on syndication. And then they started watching it at night, and it became quite a deal. It was like the #1 show in the world.
Yeah.
So from the #1 show in the world, I want to take it a couple steps back. You were talking about the early days. You're talking about Baba Black Sheep and working on the Rockford Files with James Garner. How do we find a young James Whitmore Jr. working on your series regular on Baba Black Sheep? What was a predecessor to that? I know you've always been involved in theater since you were a young.
I started in New York.
Lad.
I started in New York. Went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. I was actually.
Right.
I followed my girlfriend up there. I was in college, and I cleared college, and my girlfriend was going to the American Academy, so I joined up.
Well done.
Didn't want to be an actor, really. My dad was a famous actor, and it was a little embarrassing. A little embarrassing.
Really?
The whole idea of the theater. They always wanted you to act in plays in school, right? You play Juan Cabrillo. You play Ponce de Leon. And I'm saying, I don't want to do that. I want to go over here and smoke a cigarette. So that was what happened. And so I really wasn't into it, but I got to the academy, and I sat down in a rehearsal class, and I had Albie's The Zoo Story in my hand.
Oh, what a great
and I got to play Jerry, and I started, and I put a pair of shades on, and I said, holy shit, you can be anybody you want to be, and it's not you.
Yeah.
You can expose anything about yourself, and it's not you.
Yeah.
You can really explore. I was just a kid, a 17, 18-year-old kid filled with fear and confusion, but now it's okay to use it. And I was hooked. I was hooked in the whole deal, and I continued on through the rest of my life.
That's fantastic.
You acted in Quantum Leap with Scott,
I did act in
right?
a few of them.
Yeah.
But I also directed a bunch of them. Hold on, I got tuberculosis. All right.
No one's safe here.
No one's safe.
No one is safe.
I'm good now.
Just by listening to this, listener, you might get something.
It's funny. I always wanted to be Fantine in Les Mis, and it appears that I may have my chance.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right. Yeah. Anyways, I apologize for that.
Don't worry, you're
breach.
fine. We're fine. We love you.
This is why we do podcasts.
Yeah.
To capture that.
So I was just a kid trying to make a living. I got married. Salisha and I got married down in Trinidad, where I met my wife, and we had a bunch of kids, and we came up to California, and I was actually the first job I had up here was cleaning sewers for the flood control. Then I got a job selling cigarettes out of my trunk of my car.
What? Wait, no.
Wait, so
you're
who
jumping.
hired
You're
you
jumping. Hold on.
to-
What?
to-
How did you?
to
Why
sell
were you doing
cigarettes out of
that?
the back?
Well, I came
Why
from-
were you
well, that's a
cleaning
long story.
flood
None of this makes
control?
sense.
Hold on.
None of this
What's
makes
going
sense.
on?
No.
I started when Salisha and I got married. We had a baby.
Okay.
Yes.
Fair.
The baby, we lost the baby.
Oh, I'm
Oh, sorry to hear that.
So we came to California
Yeah.
to resettle and get going. And the one guy that my mother knew was the head of hiring for the LA County hiring department. He said, I can get him a job cleaning sewers with the flood control. I said, I'll take it.
Yeah.
$160 a week back in the day. It was like 1972, 1973. We had some dough. We got an apartment. We started living. I did that job for a year. I had a lot of fun with the guys, cracking jokes and and shoveling crap out of the sewers. Funny, in Beverly Hills, I got these big what do you call them? Forks. God, they're called something forks. I'm sort of losing my mind, but bear with me on that.
It's been years. It's fine.
Double forks.
Yeah.
Pulling garbage and mess and goo out of the catch basins in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
And throwing it on the sidewalk and then loading it in the truck and taking it down to the dump down on
Hollywood
101.
Yeah.
The ladies would go by, the matrons of Beverly Hills, and they, oh, my goodness, that's disgusting. And I'd always say, hey, listen here, lady, it's not my stuff, it's yours. That's the sort of attitude I had. But we had a great time doing that. And then I thought I could make $10. I went to one of those hiring, employment agencies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I talked to a guy, and he said, well, I can get you $10 more a week selling cigarettes for the American Tobacco Company. So I said, shit, let's do it. So I met this guy, John Smith, who he had a carnation in his lapel. He was John Smith with a carnation in his lapel.
Yeah.
Sounds
down
legit.
in Long Beach. Could have been any kind of a deal.
Yeah.
But he said, I'm going to hire you, but you better do a good job. And so I got this car, this big Chevrolet with a trunk filled with cigarettes for the American Tobacco Company. And my job was to go around and refill the products in liquor stores and grocery stores, and refill the stuff they were out of, and also push the new exciting brands.
Yeah.
Like Lemon Twist 100s and Super N menthol, hermetically sealed cigarettes.
I thought you were literally just selling cigarettes out of your
loosies.
trunk, and I'm
I thought he was going.
That's
Hey,
No,
probably
this is it. This is legit. I was a real cigarette guy.
Yeah.
And so I would go into these stores and I'd try to get him to sell the thing. I say, okay, and I put him back in my car and go away. I did that for a while. Then my dad had dinner one night with an old guy, a buddy of ours who we'd known in New York, Ralph Waite.
Oh yeah.
And Ralph Waite was a wonderful actor who he had succeeded in the Walton show, and he'd become very successful. And he loved the theater. He'd been with Joe Papp for years over there doing stuff. And he took this money that he made and he opened the LA Actors Theater, which became the Los Angeles Theater Company.
Right.
And he said, I need a guy to run the house for me. I need somebody to run the house for me. Nice. I said, Ralph, I'll do it, but let me audition for something. It was time to get out of the cigarettes. And so, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it because it was a real big cut in pay.
Right.
Ralph didn't have a lot of money. I think he paid you $55 a week to do that job. And I was making $160 a week selling cigarettes. So it was a big decision. I'm laying in bed with Celicia. And she says to me, pal, if you don't do this, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. You got to do it and prove one way or the other that you could do it.
Right.
So I took the job. And I went to work for Ralph. And I did the first show we did was The Hairy Ape. Mitch Ryan was playing Yank. And we had a bunch of great actors, and Ralph directed it. And the next play was called The Kitchen by Arnold Wesker.
Yeah.
And Gwen Arner, who was Donald Moffat, I don't know if you know the great Irish actor Donald Moffat, his wife, Gwen Arner, was going to direct it. And it was a cast full of great, crazy people. Richard Jordan, Bill Brimley, and Ralph, and George Loros, who's a big acting teacher in New York. There's a lot of great actors in this show.
Right.
Joyce Van Patten, Dennis Dugan, a lot of great people. And I was going to play the Vietnam vet who wanders in for one scene. And then, but at the same time, me and my brother-in-law were sitting at home at night doing cold readings with each other. I'd get the Blood Knot by Atul Fugard, and we'd read the Blood Knot together, and just blah 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 blah, just blow. And then we did a lot of Albee. We did the Zoo Story. You kept working that thing. In the long, the monologue, Jerry and the Dog, you learn how to come off the page. So they had a read through of this play, The Kitchen by Arnold Wesker, with this pretty stellar cast. And they said, well, the guy who was going to play the second lead, Paul, couldn't make it. He had a job in Hollywood. And everybody's going, holy shit, I wish I had a job in Hollywood. So they said, let Whitmore read it, and he won't have any ideas about it, and he'll do a good job. So I kicked the shit out of it. I blew the guys away. They said, the hell with that guy who's working. Whitmore's got the job. So I did this part at the LA Actors Theater, and I ended up, Milt Hammerman and the guys from Universal were there, and they saw me, and they said, come down, I want to talk to you at the studio. And the next thing I know, I was doing a big mini-series with George Papard, the Sam Shepard murder case, and I was on my way. I was making a living doing this thing. And that's how I got started as an actor.
How much it's changed? I just, I don't have a question. I'm like,
You're
how
right.
much it's changed?
It really has.
It
My
really
kids,
has.
my daughters, those guys are trying to get going.
Yeah.
I mean, in those days, it was a different deal, bro. I mean,
Well, you said you're sitting there with your brother-in-law, and you're going over scenes. You're going over the play. You're just kind of rehearsing. Did you tell us a little bit about your dad? I mean, I want to know. I want to know if you ever kind of bent his ear and said, or if the dynamic was different for you, because I mean, we're talking about a Broadway actor who's nominated several times for Oscars, an incredible performer in his own right. Did you ever say, hey, Dad, I want to know how this thing is done. I want to be part of the business.
I knew better.
Okay.
Because he did not believe it was anything for a decent human being to do. He had done it,
Really?
and he had been deeply grateful for it, and he was very, very good. He was very, very good.
He was amazing.
I mean, I'm telling you, when I finally did work with him, I realized there was something going on here that was not the mess that I was doing.
Yeah.
There was something going on here that went way deep into the mystery. I mean, it was quite extraordinary. But what happened was I left school, like I say, in Washington, D.C., American University, and went to the American Academy. He didn't say a word to me. He just was pissed. He said, oh, you sure you want to do that? You really?
Don't
and then he
follow
called
my
his buddy,
footsteps.
David Huddleston, who lived in New York. He said, look after my kid. look after my kid. So Huddleston became my best friend.
Yeah.
And I went through my time in the academy, and I got out of the academy, went through all the stuff we just talked about, selling cigarettes and all the sewers, having babies, getting married in the West Indies. And then I started working in the business. And when I was working at Ralph's Theater, we did this show, The Kitchen. And then what the next show we did was Cock-a-Doodle Dandy by Charlotte Casey. And Donald Moffat was in that, and Donald Moffat directed it. Irish, straight from the Abbey Theater. He directed this show, and the guy who was Mitch Ryan played Michael Marthran, the old, cantankerous Irishman with the bottle of whiskey. He had the bottle of whiskey that was entranced, and I played some small part in the show, but I was the understudy. I was the understudy for Mitch, and I was a kid. I was 22 years old. Mitch was 60, but he said he quit the show. After 2 weeks, he quit the show. He said, I can't get any laughs from this thing. I can't do it. So they called me up and said, Whitmore, you got to come in tonight. We'll get somebody else to play the part, but you got to do it tonight.
Yeah.
So I came in and I played Michael Marthran. And I remember being in the house, the set on the theater at the LA Actors Theater. It was a house set, and it was set in the back of this upstage on this thing, and had a porch, and then it led out to this grassy area with tables and shit on it. And I'm in the house. I'm the first guy on stage. And I'm thinking, Jesus, what are you doing, pal? You can't do this. I said, well, listen, if Muhammad Ali can get in the ring with Joe Frazier for the third time, you can walk out this stupid door and say these lines. And I went out there and did this part, and I was like hitting a baseball. It was one of those things. I was like hitting a baseball where you don't feel anything. The next thing I knew, I was bowing. I was taking a bow with the cast.
Yeah.
Love that feeling.
And it was like, holy shit. And people were standing up, applauding and shit. But it was really quite wonderful. And my old man said to me, kid, keep going. Keep going.
Oh, man.
And that was it. I mean, that was that was it.
That had to feel incredible.
And then we worked together. We did, I directed him in some stuff, and he was wonderful, wonderful. We did like some goofy episode of TV, and he one of the directions I gave him was, Dad, don't act, because he was so full. He was so full of all the preparation he'd done and all the work he'd done, and he was also a dynamic character, human being.
Yeah,
I mean, he shot lightning bolts out of his ass. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
I don't know if you can swear on here. But the reality was, I said, don't act. You got it. It's all there. Let's just do it. Just. And he said, you jackass. He said, that's exactly what Ingmar Bergman told me. He was in there doing the Serpent's Egg, a film that Bergman made that he hired my old man to be in. Yeah. And here's how Bergman directed. Yeah. The guy shows up, the American actor shows up from America in Stockholm or where the hell they were. And he goes and Bergman meets him in the lobby of the hotel, and they go for a walk. The day that he arrives. Right. And Bergman says to the old man, is there anything left you want to say as an actor? I mean, it's so wonderful. Wow. It always touched me so deeply that he did that. But that's what Bergman said. Please don't act. Mr. Whitmore, please don't act.
Wow.
So your dad said, basically, you were the same as Bergman.
Yeah.
as a director.
Yeah.
You're getting your start as a young actor. You're finding your way, when it comes to doing some television roles. How does that eventually segue over into directing, or was it always, these two are hand in hand for you?
It's a very dispiriting story.
We need to hear
I was an actor, hanging out, having fun, but doing a lot of TV stuff, and I hooked up with a guy called Stephen J. Cannell, who had a bunch of shows on the air.
Oh, yeah.
He did the Rockford Files, and he did Black Sheep. He was a producer of that. And then he put me in Rockford Files, playing Freddie Beamer, who was kind of a crazy, iconic, goofy character on the Rockford Files.
Nice.
And then Steve was getting ready to do a series called Hunter, a cop show. And he says, listen, I want you to play this character. Bernie Terwilliger was the guy's name. And he was, I did comedy for Steve. Yeah. I was quite serious, and I was a pretty good, run-of-the-mill dramatic actor. But I did jokey stuff, funny stuff for Steve. And so he wanted me to play this goofy IA guy on the Hunter show. Mm-hmm. And I was just fucking around. I was just kidding around. I said, yes, Steve, I'll do it, but you got to let me direct one of them. I didn't want to direct anything. I had absolutely no interest in directing whatsoever. But he said, oh, well, okay. And so now I got like 7 out of 13 shows in my contract. So now I'm doing another show called Jesse with Lindsay Wagner and Louis Antonio, who's a great director. Yeah. Is directing the show. Mm-hmm. And I'm playing a wife beater and some crazy character. And we're over in Culver City, and I said to Louis, we just get setting the shot up. I said, hey, Louis, Cannell said he'd let me direct one of them. one of these Hunter shows. He says, when are you going to do it? I said, I don't know. I never asked him about it. He said, go across the street right now, get on the phone booth. Because in those days, it was phone booths.
Yeah.
Nobody had cell phones in those days. Get on the phone, call Cannell, make him give you a job. Do it right now. You'll never regret it.
Yeah.
So I went across the street, made the phone call, and he put me on with Joe Swirling, his guy, his right-hand man, and they gave me a date to direct a show. I hung up the phone, and I was, oh, shit. I had no idea what the hell they were talking about.
How old were you at this point?
32, I guess.
Yeah, so you'd been in it for a while.
I've been around.
Yeah.
But I hadn't been the whole business was about me.
You're right.
As an actor, Fred Dreyer was the classic when it came to this. I'd be on the set setting up shots, talking to the cameraman, talking to people, and Fred would walk in, Jim. That's what he'd do, and that's who I was as an actor. It was me, my world. I'm the guy. So now I get to direct, and I direct an episode, and it was exhausting because there was so much to think about.
Yeah,
and I was the guy that would run across the parking lot to the car where the actors were sitting with a long lens, a 300 millimeter lens on them in the car. I'm running 150 yards to give them a note. Instead of giving it to saying it on the walkie-talkie. I mean, I was that into the whole process of doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What do you mean was?
Well, yeah. That's really stopped.
Anyway, I finished the show, and I'm going, wow, this is crazy. And the producer said, go back to the set as an actor. Forget about this crap. He hadn't really looked at the show. But I looked at it on the Moviola. The editor, I went to sit in my cut. Mm-hmm. And they were cutting on Moviolas in those days, man. There wasn't any digital stuff.
What's a Moviola? I'm sorry.
You don't know what it is?
No, I don't.
It's a machine where you run the reels through, and they go through, and there's a little viewfinder like this, and the film goes through the viewfinder, and you see it on this little screen.
Oh, wow.
And then when they cut it, they splice it with a splicer.
Yeah.
They tape it, put it together, and then it was quite a laborious process.
Oh, wow.
I mean, now it's wonderfully simple, you know, but also it's pretty cool. Anyway, I'm watching this cut, and I'm going, holy shit, this makes sense. See, what secretly I always wanted to be was a writer. I always wanted to be Dostoevsky. I always wanted, without the problems, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, that comes with baggage.
I always wanted to be, Tolstoy. I just wanted to write a great novel.
Yeah. And
so here I was, and here was this thing I'd made, and it was actually making sense. Mm-hmm. It was actually a story that made sense, and it was wonderful. I started crying. I got emotional. I was saying, this is fantastic. And then they started calling me up. Because in those days, actors were like foreign creatures. They were like aliens from outer space for all these producers. And they were making so many shows. And they're getting all these actors. Now they're trying to get good actors. It wasn't just Bill Conrad all the time. And so, but the actors were weird, and they couldn't be communicated with. They were strange. So they needed a guy who could talk to actors.
Yeah.
They thought, well, Whitmore's an actor. He can talk to actors. Yeah. Let's get him. Yeah. So they started hiring me for a bunch of jobs directing. And I just shot my brains out.
Yeah,
and it was wonderful. All these crazy shows done, 21 Jump Street and Wise Guy and all those the things that Cannell was doing, and then Bellisario was doing the Quantum Leap stuff and all that. Mm-hmm. I got a chance to shoot a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But when I looked around, a year later, I wasn't acting anymore.
Right.
I wasn't acting. And that literally had been my life. I loved acting.
Right.
I still do.
But did you miss it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But directing's so involving, and you're involved in so much stuff, that you're really acting as well.
You are.
Every ounce of your being is in this mess.
Yes.
You're empathing. As you were.
We have seen you at Video
Village. At the monitor. So we have this thing. So we have this thing on set. It's called Video Village. It's where everybody sits and you can watch the little tiny screens about the size of an iPad of what's happening, of what the camera's seeing. Those are called the monitors. And Whitmore is at the monitors. I mean, I'm going to move this for a second.
We're gonna replay it here.
You ready? Watch this.
Yeah. No, don't do that.
Wait. Wonderful acting.
Yeah. Stop it. No.
Cut.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful acting. Yes. Wonderful emoting. The whole time. And everybody else, just so you know, this is what everyone else is doing at Video Village.
Yeah. Well, they're professionals.
No, it's great. It's great. And you know what? I will say this because I came from multicam. And you were one of my first directors. In fact, you were my second director. And you made me feel so at home. You made me feel, it was what I was used to, that response, that feedback, because I was doing stuff and I was throwing out extra lines and jokes because I was so unsure. But having you, I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I needed. It really helped me lock in.
Well, to infuse energy on the set too. I mean, and that, there's one thing I wanted to ask you about what about being an actor? I mean, how were they right when they said Jimmy can talk to actors? I mean, I know the answer for me, but in those early days, did you have a shorthand with actors you felt like other directors
Brad,
didn't?
you know this. Everybody has their own language.
Sure.
Every single individual actor has their own language. And you got to figure, because TV is so fast.
Yeah.
It's not like you spend months. I mean, I'm reading Anthony Hopkins' autobiography right now. My God. You got to read it. It's so brilliant. But the point is, they get time to talk to actors and meet them and have dinner and lunch, and they spend time. We got to go.
Yeah.
We got to go.
Yeah.
And you guys are gifted. There's some actors that show up that, not so gifted. You got to find a way to get it so they can get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they can understand what you're talking about. So you got to mess around with it. You got to be willing to be fluid and play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the joy of it. The joy of it, if it happens instantaneously, if it happens on the moment, there's no right way to do any of this bullshit. It's when it's free and it's joyful and it's full of heart that it works.
We've talked a lot about how the business has changed, but I'm curious, has your directing style changed? Do you think in response to that at all?
It's changed.
Yeah, tell her.
I mean, it goes through stages.
Yeah.
When I started, it was very cut and dried, and then I started watching different shows. Miami Vice. I'd watch what Bochco and those guys were doing over on NYPD Blue. And I'd see the camera moving, and I'd see the stuff that was going on. And then and the more cameras I got, the better off I was, because MTV changed everything too. There were so many cuts; they had to have a cut every 3 seconds.
Sure.
Bang, 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 bang. So you got to get a lot of material.
Yeah.
And what that did was it caused a problem with the old time people. Garner. When I did a movie with Garner on the Rockford Files, I was shooting. I'd have 2 cameras, but I'd do 6 setups with 2 cameras.
Right.
So you're doing that damn scene. And if I do 2 takes of each one, you're doing the scene too much.
Yeah.
It's awful. But I got to get all that. I thought I had to get all that material. Went to do The Good Wife with Juliana, and I was doing that for years. But early on, she said, "What is this bullshit? Why are we doing this so many times? I don't want to do this so many times."
Right.
And I'm going, "What, don't you understand? I need all this data." She said, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
And I learned that I had to pick it. I had to find out what I needed.
Yeah.
And now I'm very quick.
You are.
If I get it, we're going on. If I get it, we're going on.
Yeah.
Because we're cutting the picture together.
Yeah.
It's not a stage performance. It doesn't have to be seamless. I can make it work. If I can make it work, we're gonna keep moving.
Yeah.
Because you got a bunch of things going on. We got a schedule. We got a bunch of people, and I think it gives energy to the crew and to the actors to be making yardage during the day.
Yeah.
Well, to have those discoveries happen more frequently, because there's only so many discoveries that happen in each scene each day, right?
Yeah.
So really, in order to feed those discoveries, you need to move on to a new thing. You need to continue going.
With you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I remember doing this thing with Billy Friedkin. We did a Twilight Zone episode.
Oh, nice.
And it was about this murder in an apartment house, and this guy Scotty Paulin had killed all these people because he was having flashbacks from Vietnam. And I played this cop that comes in after investigating this crime, and Exene Chervenka's in there, and we got a bunch of interesting actors in the show, and Friedkin's directing the damn thing.
Yeah.
So I walk in, I got a scene, I got a monologue, about 2.5, 3-page monologue, where I describe what it looked like over at the the carnage over there, right?
Yeah.
And I'm eating. I got 2 burgers, fries, and a Coke. And Billy says, "Listen, pal, I want you to finish that shit when you finish the speech. I want you to finish and take if it's your last piece of French fry, put it in the ketchup and eat it. I want it to finish. And that's how I want this thing to play."
Wow.
So I did it 12 times.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh.
12 times.
Oh.
The son of a bitch. He made me do it 12 times. I went again and again and again and again. And now I've got 24 burgers in my belly and a bunch of French fries. And I get up and I wander over to the craft service table, and I'm trying to get some water to, I don't know if I'm going to faint or, whatever. And Friedkin comes over and stands next to me and he goes, first take's always the best.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that when you punched him? Is that?
No, I didn't like that.
Did you puke on him?
I loved him.
Yeah.
But I was like, Jesus, this is crazy. But I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe we got a few really good ones in us.
Yeah.
And then we're starting to drag our tail around a little bit.
Yeah.
Wait,
it's actually because we're here and we're talking about like movement, and I want to talk about something that I think you will completely understand. We're in a big orange, kind of like the squad room. Yeah. To me, those squad room scenes are the hardest because they can be very static. Yeah. There's not a lot of places to go. How do you kind of infuse energy into those scenes?
The key to that for me, well, first of all, I don't know if you ever noticed, but when you guys come in and read the scripts,
yeah,
I oftentimes shoot them just like that.
Yeah.
Wherever you end up.
Yeah, you do.
Because at least it's something that was organic to who you are.
Sure.
And the staging of it, I mean, if you got to pick up a glass, you go and pick up the glass. But I mean, I do that, but you got to try to let you guys move. There's a million different ways. It's hard to answer that question.
That's fair.
But the greatest cheat of all is that screen.
Oh, yeah.
Where you stand up in front of the screen like a schmuck and yak away. You guys all yakking away in front of the screen. But that's how they get all their info out. Because, this is television. And the law of television is you have to restate the plot every time you come back from a commercial. Because the audience is all stoned on PCP or something. I don't know what this is. Anyway.
General store PCP now available. Also available on Amazon.
But it's you just try to find ways to make it comfortable and organic and have some fun with it.
Well, you and I were talking about finding the story. We're standing outside, but just before we started, you said that this journey, this whole thing, between different television shows is such a roller coaster, such an odyssey. But this show specifically, NCIS, in its 23rd season, and yes, it's got roots in Bellisario's prior television shows, including Jag, of course, which is a spinoff of. But what is it about this show that's given its longevity? And I mean, despite cast changes, obviously leadership changes when it comes to showrunners and writers, all that sort of thing. You've been through all of it. What makes this show unique?
Well, one of the things that's obvious is a lot of change.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of change.
Yeah.
When Don started, it was that romance that Don does with his cast and his crew.
Yeah.
And he loves you guys more than anything in the world. And the ideas that he's percolating are his ideas, and they're precious to him. His scripts would come out at the last minute. Sometimes not even the last minute.
They wouldn't come out at the last minute.
Yeah, you get a page. I mean, when I was doing Quantum Leap, I remember sitting outside with his secretary by her Mojo machine, waiting for Don to send the pages through that I was going to shoot the next day to start the new episode. It's a bit of a deal. But Don's thing was Don's thing. We were all just peasants in the village of Don, and what he was creating, and he was former whatever the words I'm looking for here, and when it started to come, because he waited for it to take shape in his head.
Yeah,
he wandered around, and I think let it coalesce somehow in his head. And then he started typing, and he wrote a lot of wonderful scripts, you guys.
Amazing stuff.
Don wrote wonderful scripts, and he came up with wonderful ideas for shows.
And his characters were just
incredible.
See, he had the amalgam of the old 40s and 50s, classic American movies.
Yeah.
And then this sort of template that we've been talking about, with the Garner thing and all that so forth. And Don loved the war. Don loved the military more than anything in the world.
Yeah.
So that was what he was doing.
That was the through line.
But it became difficult. And every time, here's another thing. I don't know. I don't know what I can say around here.
You say whatever we can cut whatever you don't.
Yeah, cut the bad stuff.
It's fine,
he was in love. There were love affairs. When he started a show, he was in love. It was like getting married. And Don got married a few times.
Yeah.
He was in love with his guys, especially the Tommy in the Magnum show. Mark and this thing. He was in love. That was a love affair. Then Shane Brennan took over.
Yeah.
And that was an interesting moment.
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole different breadth of,
Charles was going to be the guy. He was the heir apparent.
Yeah.
And Shane said, well, I'll be the story editor. Raised his hand.
Right.
And that gave him the show.
And then to fast forward a little bit, then we have the writer's strike. We have the writer's strike coming out. And then once again, huge change. How do you navigate that? I mean, that had to affect you. Nothing was going on.
But that was around the same time that the syndication started to happen.
Yeah.
And people started to find the show. And that was all Don stuff that he had created that was fascinating to the audience. And then they started watching the night stuff. And Shane did an interesting thing. He started, because Don's shows were very oblique. Yeah. They were the characters, but we got a sense of who they were.
Yeah.
And they was fascinating, but you really didn't know a lot.
Yeah.
And then Shane started writing biographical shit about the characters,
right.
and you started to understand who Cody was, or who Gibbs. I mean, Gibbs's backstory, Michael's stuff, police stuff in Baltimore. It went on and on. I mean, another thing that we have in the show is a litany of wonderfully interesting friggin' actors.
Yes,
I mean, one after the other, and you two guys are a classic example of that. Because you came in and joined up out of nowhere and became irreplaceable. You took over an irreplaceable character and became magnificent and brilliant, and if not as irreplaceable, maybe more. I mean, these are brilliant. These are extraordinary, good fortune situations.
Yes.
Doesn't have to happen that way, especially because the network's very involved in casting.
Yes.
And I've never been a big fan of the network's choices on casting, but they Lucy Cavallo or whoever the hell's doing it nowadays. I'm so old; she's probably the president of Lithuania by now.
She was running.
They came up with some wonderful, wonderful actors to take over.
If we wrote a part for you, because we've both written for the show. If we wrote a part for you on the show, would you do it?
Of course.
You would?
Everybody says that. Every show I work on, everybody says that. And I say, of course I would, and they never write a part for me.
Well, they never give me a script anymore, so I don't freaking know.
But I mean, the point is,
we can twist some arms.
It's a miracle, your show. It's a miracle. And it happened at a time in broadcasting that allowed stuff like that to happen. It's time to shut this off.
No, it's not. No, you're good. We were looking over to the side because you have some fans over here. I don't know if you know it, but y'all can't see it. But over off to the side, like everybody in the crew is cracking up, like trying so hard not to like bust out during the takes.
They don't.
So
They
I'm
want to ruin our
watching
sound.
them. I'm watching them.
Oh, okay. Whatever. What next thing?
You got some. The next thing is we have to do Proby questions. So you may not know this, but the fans of the show, we're calling them Probies. Like what Sean Murray's character was called for years. Yeah. So we asked the audience if they could ask you some questions.
Okay.
So each week we say, we're going to have so-and-so on. What do you got for them?
I doubt I know anything. I'm really dumb.
It's not like a quiz. It's not like what does NCIS do? No, I'm not going to ask you a quiz. What scene are you most proud of from a directing standpoint?
Ooh, what stands out?
The end of the show where Cody left the show.
Oh.
When Michael and those guys, when Michael left her in Israel.
Yeah.
And he was on the plane with the medallion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark was home in his house with the busted eye that he had busted importantly by the makeup department. So it really looked raunchy.
Yeah.
And when those guys said goodbye to each other, and Cody stood there weeping on the tarmac, and Michael was in the plane with the thing, and he held. I'm getting tears in my eyes just thinking about it right now.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And then Mark got the thing, and he said, Ziva, and he rubbed his eye with that bottle of beer.
Mm-hmm.
That was romance. That was Don Bellisario.
Yeah.
That was the romance and the magnificence of the flyboys and the soldiers that risked their lives and the romantic love affairs they had and all the stuff that I think Don Bellisario believed in the bottom of his soul.
Yeah.
And it was way after Don, but it was the essence of Don Bellisario. And I that's my favorite scene by far.
Yeah.
By far.
I love
wow,
that.
that's a great one. Oh.
I love that. Is there a directing rule for yourself that you always follow when telling an NCIS case?
No.
No?
No.
I love that.
I just do what I do. People like, but I'm not polite. I'm horribly impolite. So I don't know what it is.
I think you're very polite, actually. I was like, you're very polite given it.
You know what it is? It's be excited.
Yeah.
And it's not just NCIS. Because with you guys, it's not hard.
Sure.
We've been there. We've done this. We're friends. We're in a way, I don't mean to be creepy about this, we're lovers.
Yeah.
We've been through this world together, and we've been in this war together for a long time. Yeah. And it's joyful, and it's wonderful. And the things we've shared, the things we've done, in the little time that you've been here. Mm-hmm. You've been here, 6 years now? 7 years?
8
years.
Yeah.
So, the little 8 years.
The little 8 years.
But we've done some brilliant, lovely, the stuff we did that time in the trailer with you and Katrina.
Oh yeah.
That was just exquisite stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff that you've done throughout. The way you connected all these elements.
Do you remember the incense? I had something where my character was trying to translate some passage, I think from the Bible maybe, and to do it, you had filled the lab with the sounds of Gregorian monks chanting. And I'm not kidding, 50 incense sticks, like real life incense sticks burning. And I walked in to the set for the first time. I coughed and I said, he's crazy. He's a madman. And then it was beautiful. Like you could see all the smoke on the screen and it was magic. It was like in-camera magic. And I was
you try. It's a TV show. Come on.
Yeah.
It's not Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
But there's no reason why I can't pretend to be Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
And just say, I'm Stanley Kubrick for 15 minutes.
Yeah. It's fun. I was like, now I wish that we were like taking these cameras and filming something after this. Okay. Cool. To you, what's the hardest type of scene to direct on NCIS? Is it like action, interrogation? Squad room. Yeah.
Squad room. Making something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's merciless. It's the same set for the last 24 years. Nothing's changed.
What would you change if you would change the?
I've never been in any project in my life that didn't incrementally change as it moved down the trail.
Right.
Yeah.
This thing has not changed.
Well, they got new
but the
computer
guts
screens
inside have
like
changed.
about 14 years ago. They got new computer screens.
And we got new shoes, not a month ago.
Not for nothing.
I didn't
new
know
white
that.
shoes.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
But it's like a Brecht play almost. We're on the same. We're waiting for Godot.
No
Estragon,
exits.
and we're out there in the middle of this empty plain. Let's live in it, and that's what you guys do. You guys fill it up every time.
Fill that space, and it's all about those. It's all about those words, man. Like, because those characters are set. You
guys go so deep, right? I mean, you all bring so much with you when you should walk on the set. It's thrilling to watch. I'm a traffic cop a lot of the time, and it's just thrilling to watch.
Okay, so you're more than a traffic cop. So you're sitting there, and you are living and dying and breathing every sentence with us behind those monitors, and I see it, and every time I just think, man, this guy, he's performing these scenes with us, And I went and saw when you did a production of when you did that production of Proof with Danny,
right.
with Danielle Rua, and I came and saw you, and the two of you did this, pretty much two-hander play, and you were brilliant in it. You're just wonderful, and I'm just looking at this, and to piggyback off of what Diona said earlier, I think we need to put that on camera, man. Like we need to put you on, and
I'll tell you the truth. I was thinking about that out there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know how to act anymore. I don't know if I know how to learn. What you guys do, that's another thing what you guys do, it's incredible. You learn a whole story every week. Your mouths are filled with blah, blah, blah. And I'm watching going, oh, the hell, the stuff you have to say. You do too.
Yeah.
It's all the technical, crazy stuff. And when I was an actor, that was the hardest stuff to say because it had no emotional foundation to it.
Right.
You know, and you've always known. That's the thing about you is that I really don't believe that for a second because you've always known. And now that I know that you're available to do 200 plays, I'm going to start reading them, and you and I are going to be doing the zoo story or something. Claire and Frankie and Johnny and the Claire de Lune or something. Yeah. You and me.
Anyway,
thank you so much for coming today.
You guys, I'm honored to be here.
I'm honored to have you.
You guys are my favorite people in the world. And the show is my favorite experience. I mean, 20-some-odd years, a long time in your life.
It's a very long time.
Yeah. Well, I think we probably just scratched the surface on your Hollywood stories. So you're going to have to come back at some point.
If you have me, I'll come. I know the way now.
Yeah.
We love it. Yeah, we're pretty easy to find. Follow and listen to NCIS Partners and Probies on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.